And then can you just have the whole thing and then we'll start it? Because I'll need you to sort of balance the bike and stop
Okay.
and sit on the bike while we measure it. Climb it here.
Yeah. I got the whole bike right there. So if you can just move. Yeah,
Here?
right there.
Right there.
Right there.
All right, why don't you get on the other, or start it and then come over here, and we'll do this together.
Okay.
Yeah, take a photo right here. Okay, so we're ready to start?
Okay.
Hi, I'm Vince, this is Fernando, and we're going to show you how to set up your suspension on your dyno. So the way we start out is you want to first set all of your dampening adjusters out to 0. So what you'll do is you'll back out, if you have resis, you'll back out your compression knob. If you have the rebound adjuster, you'll back it all the way out. Over here, you'll set your adjusters to the 1 position, and then these you will screw so that they're all the way in. So that's the minimum dampening, so that it doesn't change the way the spring is. The first thing you're going to do is check the spring. If you hold the bike up level, right, the first thing we want to check is how much it drops under just the weight of the bike. And it should drop about, it should, under the weight of the bike, drop somewhere, and I'm pulling up, it should settle somewhere between 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. The next thing you'll do is check this, how much the bike sags under the weight of the rider. And I'll hold the bike. You want to hop on, Fernando? Okay, now I've measured it without his weight, and I get the full length. And then here, if you get up, you take your weight off the bike. So this is the full length here, and I measure that, that's right about 15 inches. And then when you put your weight on it, bounce around a little bit and find the smooth spot. All right, and that's about around 14 inches. So we have about 1 inch of sag under his weight, and that's about right. If we wanted to reduce the amount of sag, we'd go to this adjuster here, and we would separate these two, and then we would turn it clockwise to increase the preload, back it out to reduce the preload, and we would make both the right and the left exactly the same. Now for the front, it's the same procedure. If he lifts up on the bike, there's a little bit of a gap here, so under the weight of the bike, it's dropping about 1/4 inch, and then when he gets on the bike, it bounces around, and then he can pull up. We'll use this little thing here, and then we can measure it. We can adjust the preload with our preload cap. We just use the same wrench. We can use this, screw it in, that'll increase the preload and lift the bike up. We can back it out, reduces the preload, and lowers the bike down. And again, you want the right and left to be identical. It's very important that it's identical so that when the bike hits a bump, the wheel doesn't deflect this way or that. Same thing is in the rear. You got to have the right and left, has to be a balanced bike. Now, what you're going to want to do, also to check your spring, is to kind of push on the bike. But this one, the spring's a little bit heavy in the front. So when I push down, the back comes down, the front isn't. That tells us that it needs a little bit softer spring in the front, or if you wanted it, you could have a stiffer spring in the rear. so that when you bounce on the bike, the front and rear work together. So after you get your preload set and you get your right spring in there, what you're going to want to do is start to adjust the damper. Now in the rear, you'll have these rebound adjusters, and you can start from all the way in, and then you adjust it. That's a little bit on the fast side. You can adjust it in, and that'll tend to make it run a little slower. You're going to set that to your preference, but it should have that feeling when you're riding the bike so it feels very flush and moves correctly. At the same time, you'll want to use this low speed rebound button here. We've got to balance them both. If you kind of hop on, or you just kind of push on the front, and we can adjust this again using our handy tool. It just goes in there, and you can adjust this one's compression, and then this one is rebound, and you'll set them both. We recommend starting at number 3 or number 4, and then working from there. If you're losing traction, you'll want to reduce the rebound. If the bike feels a little bit unstable, you'll want to increase the rebound. Then after you've set the front and rear rebound, you've set the front and rear springs, you'll want to dial in the high-speed compression, high-speed rebound. And those here as the rebound, and you want to start this. If you see in here, there'll be some little lines, and you want to have it be start out with about 3 lines out. And you'll be able to count the little lines in there. And that'll get you about in the middle of the adjustment range. That should set the bike up right. And then you can, and we'll talk about that more in another video about fine-tuning this for different conditions of riding. This is just to get the bike basically set up. I would start with, after you've gotten the rebound, I would come back here, and I would adjust. I would start with the compression, and by the way, spring is clockwise, reduces compression. I would start with these out, and then if the bike feels like it's under acceleration, is dropping too much, or it's bottoming out, then I would start to add more compression. So that's the basic setup, how to get the sag right, how to get the basics of the bike. All right. All right. We'll see you soon. That's kind of, probably I spoke a little fast and was terrible, but
No, it's
send
good.
that to me and I'll think about it so I can write it out.